Hi there, my name is Mr. Chris Buck, and I am your child's World Studies teacher this semester. I wanted just to make this quick little video here just to kind of let you know about some of the expectations for this class, a little bit about who I am, and as well as what your child will be learning here. So, a little bit of background about me. I am the department chair here for the Social Studies department here at the high school. I currently teach mostly World Studies and Civics and Government, as well as the AP US Government and Politics course here. And I thoroughly enjoy teaching all of those things. It truly is a passion for me. I've been here for 17 years now in this department at this school. This is my first teaching job, and I plan on it being my last teaching job as well. I went to Millersville University where I met my wife. I'm married. I've got four little kids, ages 6 to 11. Gotta get that right. And so they keep me busy then, of course, as well on top of this job. Wanted to let you know a little bit about what we're going to be actually specifically learning here in this class, and then as well as a little bit about what I'm expecting from your child. So first, we're going to be going through, and we have been going through, a number of different units. Our first unit was about geography, which sounds really exciting, right? And I try to stress with your child that geography is not just understanding like this is a mountain and this is a plain. It's about understanding how those things impact how people develop and how cultures develop, and the type of implications that will come along with living in close proximity to a river, for example, versus living next to a mountain, versus living in the plains and maybe in a semi-arid area, and moving on beyond just understanding the climate and the geography of that, but understanding again on how that actually impacts human beings and how they develop differently. And so, anyway, we started out with that kind of thing, that geography element, so that we can incorporate that geography element then into all of our further units. So, for example, we're actually just now wrapping up our Africa unit. We covered pretty much the entire continent of Africa in different ways. And we mostly, again, focus on geography and how that affects people. We focus on the history of it a little bit. We get into a little bit about ancient cultures, but we're just trying to also get it into modern day life, right? We're trying to make this thing applicable to our students and understanding how this is relevant in the 21st century. And so we try to bring up problems, especially in Africa, unfortunately, and make the kids understand that there are real significant problems and there are causes to those problems, and we can understand those problems and what can we maybe do either now or in the future to help those problems. And so we worked our way through that now. We're going to be moving on then eventually here in the next couple of days actually to India and Pakistan and Bangladesh, and we're going to be talking about that Southern Asia portion of it. And what we're going to see also as a trend here with your student is we're going to talk a lot about how the West, with a capital W, meaning like Western Europe and the United States, how they have interacted with these different places as well. Typically, we're focusing on non-Western cultures in this particular class, but the West always comes into play here because obviously we are a globalizing world here. The world is shrinking, so to speak, and so there's always different interactions occurring, and so we want to understand how those interactions happened, and what are the positives, what are the negatives, and really just kind of allow for a healthy, organic discussion to occur about, okay, what were the results of these interactions, and how can we learn from those interactions moving forward. And so anyhow, we're going to move past then India. We're going to get into talking about Japan. We're going to talk about China, which is obviously becoming more and more relevant in the geopolitical world that we are fastly growing into, and we're going to hopefully understand about what China's goals are, how things changed in 1949 when they became a communist country versus what they were before, when they were really even our loose allies during World War II, and how things have changed, and what our relationship is like today, because we kind of have this tense relationship where we mutually help each other in some ways, in other ways we are diametrically opposed to each other. And so we're going to try and understand that relationship, and then we're going to wrap up the whole course with a unit on the Middle East, which obviously is very relevant, especially in the past 20 years with the war on terror, and with the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, and then some of these obviously more recent subsequent pullouts, and what that means for the future. As much as possible, I will try to bring in current event stuff, and we'll chat about what that means. I'll bring in at least one speaker, COVID rules allowing, of course, which right now it does, which is fantastic. I've got a military vet who is helping to rebuild Iraq, and has some incredible stories and pictures to share with your student. So try to bring that authentic learning in as much as possible. Moving on to just what I want to wrap up the video with, which is understanding the grades and that kind of stuff. So in this class, grades are weighted. What that means is each quarter is worth 40% of their entire grade altogether. So you got quarter one, quarter two, each being worth 40%, and then there's a final exam that's 10%, and a final project that is worth 10%. We will start that final project, which is a comparative religions research paper. We'll start that probably sometime near the beginning of the second quarter, or maybe a week or two into the second quarter. So we have plenty of time to get that done. I really like to walk the students through that so they don't feel overwhelmed. And the point is obviously get them to understand how to do research and how to evaluate resources. My policy in terms of late work and retesting is I'm pretty lax with a lot of that stuff. With late work, they can turn in anything as long as it's still from the same quarter that we are currently in. So right now we're in quarter one. So anything that they have a 0 for, which is 0 is just murder grades, they absolutely do. Anything they have a 0 for, they can turn in. There is obviously going to be a penalty, a late penalty, but they can still turn it in, and it will really, hopefully, impact their grade in a positive way if they do have any 0s. So I will take that as long as we're still in the same quarter. If they happen to fail a test, I allow for a retest to occur. Typically, actually, a lot of times I find the best way for them to actually learn from a retest is actually to do test corrections. And I force them to actually use their book, to use their notes, and actually do all the corrections of all the questions that they got wrong. That way they're actually learning the content and understanding what they did wrong, rather than just trying to, in some cases, a lot of times what I found is if we did just a retest, a lot of times students wouldn't study again. And so this kind of forces the restudying to happen. And so I found this tends to get better results. The only rule with that retesting is obviously they have to have failed the test, but they have 5 days from the time that it is posted in PowerSchool to set up the retake with me or the test corrections, and then actually complete those things. But that's really my only rule with that. So they have to actually take a little bit of the step themselves in order to initiate the actual retake or the test corrections. So one thing I would really encourage you to do that would really help me out and help your learner out is check PowerSchool. Once a week at least. Stay on top of them with that and ask them what they're doing in class. If you're in the car, if you're at dinner, or whatever happens to be, ask them, what did you learn today? What did you focus on? What unit are you studying right now? That even the simple questions like that really helps to put some things into long-term memories, and then also what they're learning about, which as a parent you should be an active participant in their education. These are your kids, right? So I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, feel free to give a call here to the school. I'm always happy to have a conversation. If you're looking for a quicker response, email is fantastic, and that's really the easiest way to get a hold of me. My email address is online. Your student has it with the syllabus, but I can also just tell it to you right now, which is, my first name is Chris, so my first initial is C, Buck, B-U-C-K, @cocalico.org. So I look forward to hearing from any of you if you have any questions, and I appreciate you watching.